Hi, welcome to Ecotourism Bali's first episode for a member feature where we highlight hotels and restaurants who have earned the Eco-Climate Badge. And today, we're at the Sarinbuana Eco Lodge, located in Tabanan. And right here with me, I have Oscar, the operational manager.
I'm one of the directors of
One of the
Sarinbuana College.
directors.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's okay.
Okay, so Oscar, how are you today?
Very good. Very excited to meet you and to be on the first episode of your podcast with the members, right?
Yes, correct. And thank you for taking the time to be interviewed by Ecotourism Bali. It's such an honor. And honestly, this is my first time coming here, so it's really exciting.
I'm glad to show you around, and yeah, I'm sure we'll take a little tour after the talk.
Okay, I'd love to. Okay, so to kickstart the interview, could you share with us a little bit about Sarinbuana Eco Lodge?
For sure. So Sarinbuana Eco Lodge it's a small ecotourism business, and we've been operating since 2007. So where we're located is quite remote by Bali standards. It's about an hour and a half from the hotspots of like Canggu or Ubud. It's in a small village in the mountains of Tabanan. Our village is called Biahan. And my family, we've actually lived here a lot longer than the lodge has been operating. We've been living here since 2000. We moved from Australia. So the Eco Lodge is an accommodation, but it's also kind of our family home. So we're all really connected to it and very passionate about it. But on site here we have 6 bungalows, and we can accept about 20 guests at a time maximum. But it's the perfect place to relax. We're very nature focused, lots of nature-based activities, trekking, bird watching, as well as things like massage that you'd expect up here, and workshops where you could learn a skill from someone in the community that can share.
I see. Okay, so the activities, is it run by you guys, or like are you working with the communities?
So since the very beginning, we've always tried to involve as many people from the local community as possible. So basically all the activities are run by freelance workers, so just members of the community, and they have a skill that they could share, or something that guests might be interested in. It could be carving, it could be weaving with coconut leaves. So usually people from within 1 or 2 kilometers of the lodge itself. Yeah, and I think it's a great thing for guests to do while they stay here.
I see. Bird watching, it's really interesting though, because we're in the open area in nature, right?
Yeah.
So of course there'll be many birds. How many birds that the guests have seen, and how is it like in the activities?
It's very popular, to be honest. Like, Bali is a popular tourist destination. So in amongst all those tourists that come to Bali, there's many nature enthusiasts. It's a bit of a niche in the tourism industry. But we get many bird watchers that are very passionate and kind of a little bit obsessed about finding every bird. So through the years, we've seen like the growth in bird species, and now we keep track, and guests also let us know because they're very enthusiastic. We've seen 113 bird species here at the lodge. And honestly, they're great guests to have at the lodge because we learn so much from them as well, and they usually have a great time. So
Okay, so and I've noticed earlier that you guys have a private river pool.
yeah,
Oh, what's that? Could you share a little?
so where we are here, we're on the top of a ridge, and basically our land goes down towards the valley. So if you walk down to the valley, there's a small creek which emerges from the rainforest, which is just about 1 kilometer from here. So upstream is the rainforest. So the water's very clean. We've made it so it's a bit deeper so you can swim in, but basically it's just a natural swimming hole. There's 3 small waterfalls there, but the main thing for me is the water's very clean. There's no pollution going into it.
That's really
Um,
nice.
and yeah, it's when we say private, obviously we don't own the river, but no one else is going swimming there.
Okay, I see. Well, maybe we can visit one of the private river pool, yeah?
That sounds good.
Later.
Sounds good. If
Okay.
you brought your swimmers, maybe go
Uh,
first.
maybe we'll just take a look.
Okay.
Okay.
Next time.
So move on to the next question. When did you first know eco-climate badge?
Eco-climate badge. So we first heard about the eco-climate badge basically soon after ecotourism Bali started, I think, because we heard about it, we looked into it.
A long while ago.
So maybe we've known about it for 2, almost 3 years, I'd say.
Oh, okay.
But in terms of actually applying, that was only this year. So we've done it maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I think.
I
Yeah.
see that. Okay. So, how would you describe your experience in acquiring eco-climate badge, and what did you have to prepare in advance?
Um, the experience, I mean, it's really good. Because we are kind of a sustainable eco business and we've been around for quite a long time, almost 20 years now operating. Um, we've done this process before with different badges in the past, but one thing that made it stand out for me, the ecotourism badge, is how thorough the check was. So when someone from your team came, it was Jeff, I think, um, he was going through in a lot of detail, more detail than I've experienced before, which I think is really important because with a badge like this, you want it to be thorough. You want it to be credible. It's not just self-assessed. This is what we're doing. We're amazing. You actually come and check, make sure that what people or what we say we're doing, you come and check to make sure that it's true, and that, we're trying our best to do it.
Was it scary to be audited? Because some people, the first time they hear, oh, there's going to be an audit and it's going to be so scary.
Yeah.
Was it scary for you, or you're just chill because you have done this before?
It wasn't too scary, I guess, because to be honest, we're all quite passionate in my family. Like we're all quite passionate about the eco lodge and about sustainability in general. I studied biology and conservation biology, so it's always been a passion for me. So I'm excited about these kind of things, and I hope they grow more. Um, and one other thing is, because we were in discussion quite a bit, we're quite a small business. By comparison to others that might be in Bali, hundreds of rooms, we only have 7 bungalows, so we're quite a small business by comparison. And ecotourism Bali, they're quite responsive in kind of making I guess an agreement with us that works for small business, because we believe in a sliding scale for this kind of thing. So that not only the big business can kind of afford to be a member, it can also be the smaller business, also locally owned business, which I think is very important. So that was great. It was great that we could have that discussion, basically.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question, where Ecotourism Bali has provided a detailed guidelines, especially for accommodations, to help identify which area is to improve. So, do you find it helpful, and which area are you focusing right now, and how's it going so far?
Yeah. And I mean, as a practice, I think it's always good to look at the areas where you can improve. So it's not just focusing on this is what we're doing great, we're amazing at this. Because how you move forward is where you're not doing the best you can do, and that's where you tackle it. And obviously we're not perfect. There's plenty of places that we can improve on. For me, there's 3 key areas that I've been looking at in detail in the past year, which are waste management, basically trying to reduce the amount of waste we generate. This is physical waste, and the amount of physical waste we send to the landfill. Energy production. It's been a big process or a big focus of ours to produce energy on site. So this year we installed a solar panel system, which so far is generating about 35% of our power. So that's a big step for us. And obviously the conventional source of power in Bali is not the best. So we're trying to focus on that. But from the beginning, just on power production, we've always tried to be very low consumption, basically, in terms of how much power we're using. So the focus has been on minimum use, and then when we can't go any further there, we're trying to create green power. And lastly, I'll just mention this one quickly, is transportation, which for a business like ours, we have to pick up guests all around Bali. We have to drop guests all around Bali. Um, and sustainable public transport isn't really an option here, which a lot of guests ask us, how do we get there by bus or train or something? There's not really an offering we can provide. So this one, I'm still working on what we can do. But basically, those are the three areas: waste management, electricity consumption and production, and transportation for guests. Yeah,
Those are the three areas that you're still trying to improve. Yeah.
I think for the main improvement, because we've been here a long time, we've managed to get through quite a lot of challenges. These three, mainly because the solutions can cost quite a lot of money. So, like with transport, if we wanted to get an electric car, bus, something, that's quite a big investment for us. Same for the solar system. So we're step by step trying to get there. Yeah.
Step by step. Small progress up. So
Okay, so let's get into your self-assessment. So research contribution is basically your high scores.
Okay.
so could you name the activities that you have done to support research consultation?
Okay. I mean, maybe I've mentioned a little bit already just before, but I can go through a few other things. So the first approach in terms of energy, which is a resource, is we're always trying to reduce the amount of energy we use. So any in any department, let's call it, we'll always try and go for the lowest energy option. So in our rooms, for example, we've done our best to design the rooms such that they don't need any heating or cooling. So we have lots of passive cooling with wind coming through the houses. We're also quite lucky because we're at 700 meters, so it's quite cool anyway. But basically, we don't have any AC, we don't have any fans. So the rooms in total, they use a very small amount of power. It's just the lights. The lights, obviously, we have very low watt LEDs, trying to keep the consumption low. And as a whole, we have 7 bungalows here. We have a restaurant, we have a swimming pool. We use about 1.5 times the average use of a household in the USA. So it's this business basically operates on 1.5 times the amount of energy a house would normally operate on. So we're really trying to keep the energy as low as possible. So that's one way we're trying to conserve. The obvious things are like, we try not to use single-use plastics, all those kind of things, which I'm sure everyone's aware of. It can be challenging at times because we're still dependent on products that we need for the restaurant, for example, and there's still limited uh, suppliers in Bali, I guess, so we can't always choose an ideal supplier. We're still getting packaging, for example, but we're always trying to reduce the packaging, reduce the single use. Things like straws we don't have, plastic bags, we'll never give a plastic bag, reusable bottles. Um, um, so, like I said before, each department will try and reduce the amount of waste, the amount of consumption. So we'll try and get more durable products. Obviously, if you're using cleaning thing implements, brooms, everything, we always try and invest a bit more in getting more durable, longer term products. As well as that, in the rooms for the guests, we don't provide any single use consumable things like toothbrush, little sachets of soap or shampoo. Um, we offer soaps and shampoos in the rooms, but that's just in a refillable bottle. So basically anything that we feel like doesn't need to be bought, consumed and then provided for each guest, we'll try and avoid that while still creating a comfortable environment for the guests. um, Another way is we try and kind of close the loop in what we use. So in the kitchen, I'll move to the kitchen now. The restaurant kitchen and restaurants, they always use a lot of things because we're quite busy here all the time, going through a lot of products. So we always try and go for fresh products where the waste products are organic. The organic waste we can then compost and we put back into our own garden because we grow a lot of food here on site. So if we can focus on fresh food which comes from our garden directly.
Oh, you have a garden in your own.
We have a permaculture garden here, which we do our best to produce as much as possible directly here. Which
Producing your back.
so at the moment we produce basically all the herbs and spices that go into our cooking. So things that you'd see in a lot of Balinese gardens, you'd have galangal, ginger, turmeric, lemongrass, chili, which they all do well here, so it's easy to garden them. And in the restaurant, basically all that comes from the garden. They prepare it on site, and um, what? Sorry,
Sorry?
I was gonna say, in doing that, we're kind of reducing our need to go somewhere, pick up materials, bring it back here. So local is always better. I think, it's even when I'm looking for products for the restaurant. If you have one product that comes from Italy, for example, and another product that comes from West Java, we'd always go for the local option, because I think local is very important. One, just to support the local industry. There might be some niche products coming out of Java, like cheeses or something. So it's nice to support them, but also it's reducing the miles it has to travel here. So always trying to go local, always trying to go fresh, and always trying to grow as much as possible on site.
Okay, so after all of that efforts, what are the benefits for Sarinbuana?
Okay, I mean, there's many benefits all through this answer. I mean, obviously, if you're using less material, less energy, it's all cost saving, so you reduce your costs. But in our mindset as well, if you're reducing the impact on the environment or the community, that's a benefit in itself, because as principles we have those, environmental, social, and economic principles that we have to adhere to. So if it's bringing a benefit to any of those principles, benefiting our local environment, benefiting our local community, or benefiting us economically, then that's a good benefit for us. But I'd say the main thing is when we tell guests about this or tell them our story, they appreciate that, and that's a benefit to us again, because the more the guest knows about the efforts we're going through, the more value they can give to what we offer. So I think the main benefit is, uh, it's acknowledged in the tourism community now, that if you're doing good things for the environment, for the people, then
You'll attract more
you attract.
eco-conscious
Yeah,
guests.
exactly. So I think that would be the main benefit, if I'm being honest. So
Yeah. And so it's true what they say that eco-conscious hotel or accommodations will attract more eco-conscious guests.
100%. And because we are eco-conscious, responsible hotel, the guests we do attract tend to be incredibly nice and very interesting. So it's just another knock-on benefit is that we, in our day-to-day interaction or our team, we're always dealing with very nice, kind of appreciative, nature enthusiastic people. So it creates an environment that's just nice to work in as well. So there's so many benefits to being more sustainable, I think, and it goes far beyond just saving money. So
Of course. Okay. So move on to the next question will be pollution reduction. Okay, so could you share a few examples of specific actions that or policies that contribute to reducing pollution at Sarinbuana?
yeah, okay. I think firstly, I want to highlight that when we talk about pollution, immediately everyone's mind goes to rubbish, like waste, plastic in the river, that kind of thing, it's obviously a very bad thing. But we also have to think of things like wastewater. Where's your wastewater going? Because even nutrients, for example, going into a creek can be a pollutant. So I'd say the first one I'd like to mention is our wastewater management. So each bungalow we have here has its own isolated wastewater treatment garden, meaning that we use plants to extract nutrients from the wastewater coming out of the bathroom or the kitchen. We remove those through plants before it gets back into the environment. So I think wastewater is very important, and it's not often mentioned. So the way a hotel manages its wastewater, it can be done in a like energy intensive way or water intensive way. So it's these things I think I'm very proud of, is just our approach there. Beyond that, so recently we just upgraded our waste management facility. This is our physical waste management. So any plastics, glass, metals, those kind of things. And the approach here has been to separate as many levels as we can, so that when we send this to the local waste sorting facility, it reduces the burden on them. It's already sorted, and then they can then sell it on. So now we're separating into hard plastic, glass, metal, cardboard, Tetra Pak. Tetra Pak is possible now because someone can actually take the Tetra Pak and recycle it. Before they came along, it was very hard for us to do anything with it. We also separate our batteries and any other kind of old machinery, useful things, we also try and either take to a facility which can fix it and then they can sell it on, or we give it to someone in our team that might take it and fix it. So I'm sure I can give you a tour of the waste management
Sure, that
facility
would be
later as
lovely.
well.
Yes.
And lastly, I just wanted to mention, so in Bali, I think last year they changed or brought in new rules to sort waste at a local scale. They call them TPS, which is it's basically a small scale waste management facility or waste sorting facility.
Yeah,
Um,
they asked every household to separate their waste.
yeah,
And if they didn't, they wouldn't take.
yeah,
The waste.
exactly. So that's something that's still in its infancy. It's still kind of new in Bali. But here in our village, what we're trying to do is work with the management team for the TPS here in Desa Wanagiri, because they've often come to us asking like, what's a better way to reduce the amount we're sending to the landfill? Because right now for them, they're still receiving lots of waste from households, from business, and they don't really have a way of utilizing it. They have to send to the landfill. So going forward, I want to try and work with the desa, with the local village, to figure out a way we can utilize this waste and reduce the amount we're sending to the landfill. So that's a project going forward, which is beyond our business. It's kind of more at a village level. How can we improve the way the waste is managed?
Okay, so so far, how many percentages impact is there before and after doing it? Like before you separate the waste and after you do that,
Um,
is there a
yeah,
significant difference or?
it's for sure significant. I mean, like I mentioned before, we're quite a small business, and although I'm really aware that it's important to monitor your output or like your, how many kilos of this you're sending here. For us, it's been a little bit difficult to get to that level, just because we don't have the means to do it yet. But we can see that we're having a notable impact, basically. So I can't give you a measurement of this is how much waste we're preventing going into the local river, the creek, but we know we're doing our best to reduce it. And in terms of power consumption, that kind of thing, we're just getting there where we can monitor. So now since we've installed the solar system, we can monitor how much electricity we're using. That's why I have the stats of 1.5 households of electricity and 30% solar power. So those are some numbers I can give you. And we're always trying to improve. So solar power 30%. Obviously, we can grow that. We can improve on that. Waste management. We've just made the new facility. We can improve on the way that we monitor, so that we can see if we're making steady progress. But yeah, it's tricky for us to give like an exact percentage, basically.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's tricky, but overall, it's all going great. Yeah,
yeah. Overall, it's in the right direction and always improving.
always improving.
And not only always improving. I'm hoping that at some point we can be a bit of an example for other business.
Yeah.
So if they see our waste management practice, they see how like low effort it is. We don't have to spend too much time doing it. It's very easy to sort everything, and the impact's quite big. I'm hoping that other businesses or households could take it on and do it themselves as well.
Okay. That's really great. And it's really impressive, frankly. Okay. So, next to the last questions of the self-assessments, it's about biodiversity, ecosystem, and landscapes. So, Sarinbuana Ecology has declared its commitment to protect biodiversity and ecosystem. So, how do you integrate that into practice in your daily operations?
Um, like I said earlier, we're all very passionate about this. We all want to see a really healthy environment around us because we live here as well. And basically, the business of the lodge thrives from a healthy ecosystem. So more birds means more bird watchers. More nature means more nature enthusiasts. We have people who come here just to see frogs, herpetology, night walks, that kind of thing. So our whole business model thrives from a healthy ecosystem around us. So it's it's beneficial for us to be sustainable, but also kind of regenerative where we can be, because I could show you a photo comparing the site of the lodge, where what it was maybe 30 years ago to now, and the difference is it's amazing. Obviously, I wasn't born 30 years ago, but basically this whole area was just grass hillside with coconut trees. So all the trees here have been planted in that time. So from grass and coconuts, it's become this really diverse ecosystem or habitat for local native wildlife. And in my lifetime, I've seen the benefits. We get much higher diversity in terms of birds. We've seen 113 species on site here. More abundance. If you wake up early, you're hearing so many bird calls. So you can feel that the environment's being supportive to the native wildlife.
That must have been amazing to wake up in the morning and listen to those birds singing.
For sure, for sure. And I'm not a fanatical bird watcher myself, but when I see a bird that I haven't seen before or haven't seen for a long time, that excites me as well. So
Yeah.
I'll always
True.
notice that, and then I'll share that with guests, and
And you
it's
get to experience that any day since
they,
you live here.
yeah,
That's
any day,
really amazing.
as you please
Wow.
say. This is not the native wildlife. Um, what else could I mention? So, do you want me to go on this? The
Sure, if
conservations?
there's
Yeah.
still any.
So we have principles here and policies as a business that we've kind of always had from the beginning, but we're trying to formalize it a bit more. And some of the examples are like we don't use any rainforest timbers in any construction, which
Yeah, we've got so many friends.
lots of friends here. It's getting busy. Ellie,
Oh, she's the one that you said was a bit.
yeah, that would have been a good blooper if she just tries to bite you on camera.
Oh.
So yeah, one of our principles is that we don't use any rainforest timber in construction. Um, it's a very important issue. I think Indonesia is a country that has a lot of deforestation,
Yep.
even now to this day. It has a lot of development, construction, and in Bali, there's many examples of rainforest timbers being used. So, and we just try not to be supportive of that industry in any way. Even if it's recycled timbers, it's it's hard to guarantee. So basically, we look local again, like you said before. We just go for local options. There's many local timbers, Cempaka, Nangka, Pinis, all have different kind of different. How do you explain that? They're good for different reasons. You know, you have Cempaka, which is very solid. The Pinis, which is very light. It's great for window frames. So if you look for the solution, like or alternative, I think they're there. But that's just one example that beyond our local area, how we don't want to contribute to deforestation. In the restaurant here, we also have a no palm oil policy in terms of frying, so we don't use any palm oil for frying because of its impact on deforestation. And which, if you look, there is an alternative. It's not necessarily the same price. It's not as easy to acquire, but that's what I mean. Like any area where we can improve or has a lower impact or even a benefit, then we try our best to do it. Um, and usually looking local is the more affordable and the more beneficial approach. So that's the best thing for us.
Okay. So, next question is, how do you plan to improve your commitment for biodiversity? Is there anything that you'd like to maybe enhance or boost?
Yeah, I think in this area, because we've been here for a while, it's safe to say that we're like at a regenerative stage. We've improved the local environment in a lot of ways, especially around the lodge. Um, I'd say where we can continue to work is working with the local community. Um, so in the past, poaching has been an issue in Bali. It's becoming less of an issue now. Whether that's poaching birds for the the pet industry, you see birds in cages. Whether it's fishing with electricity, or hunting wildlife, again for the trade, things like civet cat coffee, luwak coffee, that can often encourage local people to catch civet cats, keep them in a cage, to 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 then produce coffee. So I think those are the areas we can continue to improve. Work with the local community. We create nature-based job opportunities, whether it's guiding or workshops or birding, because that creates a real value on maintaining wildlife, maintaining the natural system. So if more of the local community members are involved, they're getting a benefit from ecotourism, from eco-business. That'll improve the overall environmental situation, the biodiversity situation, because more people value it. And as well as that, we want to continue working with groups like FNPF, Friends of the National Park,
Oh yeah, you've mentioned earlier.
which I know you guys are collaborating with as well.
Yeah, we did.
They're great initiatives started by a Balinese guy named Bayu, and we've probably been working together with them at varying degrees of activity for the last like 10, 15 years. Want to continue collaborating with organizations like them, whether it's releasing wildlife here on site at the lodge or assisting in breeding programs, rehabilitation, that kind of thing. And outside of Bali, we also contribute to other organizations like SOS, which is Sumatran Orangutan Society,
Oh,
and
you were working with SOS.
in an indirect way. So we will sponsor orphan orangutans, we'll do tree planting projects. So when we can't do it ourselves, we'll always try and outsource a good. So if we can't do the tree planting, then we'll try and we'll see if SOS or FMPF can do the tree planting for us. So that's a way we can support them.
Wait, is it Scholars of Sustenance or SOS Village for the children?
This is a different one. This is not. This is Sumatran Orangutan Society, or I think that's what it is. SOS. So we adopt baby orangutans basically to send them a membership or annual, no, monthly fee, which allows them to continue the good work they're doing. So it's super important, I think, to support these good NGOs or small businesses which are doing really important work, but maybe they're not being valued, they're not getting government money, they're not getting tourism money. So it's super important as an eco business, I think, to support other groups. It can also be places like Eco Bali who are recycling waste, if you can support them in some way, or CG Recycling is another one we send bottles to recycle glass. Brese is where we get our soaps, which are all natural, which we love, but they're also doing great things because they have really low waste. Basically, they try and keep the waste low. You can refill just the same container. And if I can just mention one more thing, clearly this is what I'm excited about. So like I said, my background's in conservation. So this is the thing I'm happiest about, when we can achieve really good conservation, whether it's birds or wildlife or this trees and nature. I'm very excited. And I think Bali, we need to talk about it more, because a lot of parts of Bali, there's no space left for nature. It's not even recognized as a space that's needed, natural space, wild space. So I think it should be in the discussion more,
Yeah, absolutely.
because if everything's built into a business or a shop or a restaurant, that where is the nature supposed to exist? Basically, it's not a sustainable way forward. And a segue from that is, this year we just decided to lease more land around our lodge, and the main driver for this was we wanted to create a sanctuary where all it is where we're gonna plant native trees and create a small rainforest, basically, which is right next to the lodge, and it's gonna be about 50 ara, or about half a hectare, which is about a third of our property. And yeah, the main idea is to nurture native species, native trees, maybe trees that aren't available around, and hopefully that encourages more wildlife to come near to the lodge, which is beneficial to us again, because maybe
That's
more
really
birds,
cool.
the guests can explore. So in 20 years' time, hopefully we have a forest just below.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
And actually, we're planning, we're starting the tree planting in January 2025. So it's a very current new project. Going to plant probably 200 trees, about 100 species.
200 trees.
Yeah.
Wow. So now, next question is local community support. So you've mentioned earlier that you collaborated and partnering with so many local communities,
Yeah.
right? So how important is it for you to collaborate with them? Does it have to be with the local community, or if there's no any option, then you can go and buy some of your resources from outside of Bali, or
It's a very important thing for the sustainability of Bali as we know it, I think, is to engage the local community and ensure that the culture is not being diluted by tourism, over tourism. Um, Maybe slowing down a bit, doesn't need to be so fast paced. Bali's always been a relaxed place, lots of time set aside for cultural activity. So if we approach it with this business mindset of quick efficiency, I don't think it gels very well with traditional Bali. Um, and yeah, the business mindset could be updated to integrate more of a community engagement. Here, it's very important for us, basically, to answer your question.
yeah,
How important it is to work with the local community? It's super important. For me, especially, I grew up here. I know pretty much everyone in the local village here. So it's really fulfilling for me and for everybody involved in the business, I think, to see benefits that are direct. Some examples of what we do are like English classes. We've been leading English classes throughout the years, for the last like 20 years or so. Um, Originally, it would be myself or my mum teaching the school or the classes, maybe 30 kids. Um, Now we have a school teacher. So every Sunday we have an English class with local kids. That's just one thing. We had a football school for a very long time. It was going for about 12 years when I was younger. My brother was coaching. Yeah, I was playing more. Um, and more recently, we started a dancing school as well, traditional Balinese dancing, um, which is, again, where we are, we're very remote. So we're in a small village, and we felt like offering these kind of after school activities is kind of important because small villages in Bali get a little bit left behind. There's not as many opportunities for them. So if they can play football or learn to dance or learn English after school at a young age, it's just another way we can contribute, and you really see the benefit to the community through those things. And parents are really grateful. There's Gotta say this one last thing is it's it's mutually beneficial, I think, to work with the community. So we we benefit through having more support, basically. If we have initiatives to do with conservation, like tree plantings nearby or wildlife releases, if we have the community support on our side, then it's much easier for us to do those things. We don't have to fight. Or if you're trying to bring in initiatives like no hunting and those kind of things, if the community values tourism and values conservation, then it's much easier to implement those kind of things. And the benefits for the community are that ideally there's lots of job opportunities that pay quite well, education opportunities. Um, all of our crew here comes from the local community, so maybe within like 5 kilometers of the lodge. They're all Balinese. Many of them have worked here for 15 years plus. A lot of the skills they have now, they gathered through working here. And we offer a lot of training opportunities for young adults in the village that might want to get into the tourism industry or guiding. So we'll try and cater to that, put effort into training rather than finding a skilled worker from somewhere else in Bali or Indonesia, with bringing them here. It's try and put more effort into growing the local community. Yeah, I can go on and on about this. Another thing, I grew up here, so a lot of my friends who are similar age to me, they have to go somewhere else to get a good working opportunity, whether it's the cruise ship or working overseas or working in the city in Bali. So for me, I hope that more young adults can stay in the village. They get a well-paying job, stability. They don't feel like they have to leave their family, their home. Because then the vibrance, the life in the community, the village is greater if you keep those young people here. Um, so I think that's a big benefit of having ecotourism in small communities, is that it provides that kind of stability. Um, but I say small because in a community here, like we have 67 kaka, 67 families in our local village, and many of the people who are looking for work already have work in the businesses. There's our eco lodge. There's a few other businesses here, so the opportunity is already quite good. So the benefit of a big hotel now wouldn't really be seen that much in the local community, I don't think. So it's kind of small scale is basically what I want to get across. Is that I think small scale business is more sustainable for Bali in smaller communities in Bali.
Nice. Okay, that's really nice. It's really impressive that what Sarinbuana Ecology have done here, and I just wish that uh, I just wish that more people would know about Sarinbuana.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so one last question. Oh wait, I thought there's gonna be a last question, but this is would you recommend EcoClimate Batch to other hotels who are aiming to be more sustainable? On a
100%.
scale,
100%. Yeah.
really?
Yeah, for
On a
sure.
scale from 1 to 10?
1 to 10, I'd recommend it, 10 out of 10,
10 out of
any
10.
business. But
Recommended.
not only being a member of Ecotourism Bali, but being more sustainable. As in, I'd
I
recommend,
mean,
obviously I'm a bit biased in this. I want Bali to be how it is, how it is when I was growing up, very natural. So the more business that's approaching business in a sustainable eco way, the better. And a good way to do that is going through a group like Ecotourism Bali, because they can actually help you uh, show you the ways where you can improve, give you examples of other businesses, the approach they take to reduce their impact, the collaborations they have to deal with things like waste or installing solar systems, those kind of things. It's all beneficial. And yeah, I think it's the main thing is, as I said in the beginning, the start, that you guys are thorough. You're checking, making sure people are fulfilling the promises they make, or at least doing their best. Because I think credibility is so important in the ecotourism industry. If you label yourself as sustainable and eco, yet there are many flaws in in that in what you do in practice, it's that lowers the credibility of everyone involved, basically. So if yes, join Ecotourism Bali, get accredited, but always be authentic and true to your claims, I think, is what I'd say.
Yes,
Yeah.
true. So do you have a message for everyone out there who's trying to improve their sustainability in their resort or villa?
Message.
It's just a short, quick message for them.
Okay.
To the camera?
To the camera. Okay. So I'd say being sustainable is a great way to get your business out there to share. Especially in tourism, people are becoming much more aware of the impact of tourism, so they want to have a beneficial impact on their travels. So sustainability shouldn't be seen as kind of an extra step that you do just because you want to do something good. It should be seen as a beneficial business move, because the public, the industry recognizes that, and I think becoming a more sustainable business will benefit you in many ways, basically. So this relates to the pollution reduction policies, those kind of things. So when we talk about pollution, obviously is the wastewater, the physical waste, and physical waste is something that everyone talks about. It's a big issue now. Another important thing to discuss with this topic is many pollutants you can't see, and I'm talking more about chemical pollutants. So in our operations day to day, we don't use any chemicals, and that has been a really strong principle for us from day one, coming from my parents. So when I mean day to day in cleaning, it's very hard to be 100% chemical free. I'm not saying we don't use any chemicals ever, but we don't use any poisons for pest control. So if you have ants or something in your bungalow, we're not going to go and spray it with a poison. And we don't use any strong chemicals like bleach or hard chemicals for cleaning. We found natural alternatives, luckily, which are quite available now. You can find natural alternatives that do a good job, so it's still clean, but it's not polluting the local environment with chemicals, which it's a very hard thing to see. As in, you might not see the impact, but if you're constantly using poisons and chemical fertilizers, those kind of things, it will have an impact down the line, whether it's in the creek, it's taken with the rain into the creek, and then from the creek it goes into the groundwater. It will have impacts. So I think it's important to discuss the pollution, the pollutants that aren't really obvious, because us as humans, we react very strongly to a river full of plastic or a beach full of plastic because it's just there, it's in your face. But we have to be aware that chemical pollution or wastewater pollution is also an important thing to discuss.
Yeah, I've seen there's a pool right
Yeah.
near us, and there's a sign that there's no chemical pool. So please no sunscreen, glass in the pool, and swimming in lightning.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Obviously, I should have mentioned that the pool we have here is natural. It doesn't use chlorine or any other chemicals to keep it clean.
So how do you clean it? Sorry, I'm just curious. So how do you clean it if there's no chemical use in it?
Oh, luckily we're sitting right next to it. So this waterfall that maybe you can see or maybe you can have a look at after, it acts as a filter, which the waterfall is full of gravel, and we move the water through the gravel to filter out the solid particles. We also have lots of plants in there, which they're in there to filter out the smaller nutrients, those kind of things. We have fish in there that also clean on the algae. So there's fish called pleco that's like they stick on the side of the walls. Maybe you've seen them in aquariums, and they eat the algae. Basically, we're trying to recreate the natural system. So in a creek, why is a
Like
creek
in the
clean?
churuk, yeah.
What's creating a clean system there? And we're trying to replicate that. It's a fully circulating system, so there's no new water going in. It goes through the filter, goes through the pump constantly.
Creative,
Um,
I should say.
it's been very, very successful so far. This has been here 4 years, so it's still quite a new addition. But we're really happy. And being an eco lodge, we couldn't have a chlorine pool for the reasons I explained before. We can't constantly be putting those chemicals into our environment. So we wanted to create a pool which feels like a normal pool, conventional, but doesn't use the chemicals. So I think we found a nice in between.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
You can go for a swim later if you want. Test it out.
Okay, so do you still have more to say?
I think I'm good, unless you
I'm
think I
good.
need to say more.
Okay, so that's all the conversation I had with Oscar. Sarinbuana is a hidden gem lodge located in a remote area in Tabanan, and they've done so many things to keep everything sustainable and eco-friendly, and that's really impressive. From the resource conservation, pollution reduction, biodiversity, and ecosystem, and the very last one is how they're actively always collaborating with the locals. It's really impressive. That's my favorite part, actually, because you've mentioned it so many times, and that's
Thank
just it's a sign that you've really invested in that. Yeah.
For sure.
Yes. Okay, so I'd say book your holiday now at Sarinbuana Eco Lodge and experience the beautiful scenery and fun activities here. Yeah.
Thank you, Diva. Thanks for coming up. It's very nice to have you here. Very excited for ecotourism Bali and to see its growth in Bali. Hopefully more and more people are joining the cause.
Yes.
And very,
Absolutely.
very happy and excited to be on the first episode, and looking forward to seeing more podcasts coming out soon.
Yes. Thank you so much, Oscar. And that's it, guys, for the episode 1. And see you on the next episode. Bye bye.